You don't need an announcement. You don't need motivation quotes. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. The most dangerous transformations in history never made noise. They happened in silence. Right now, the version of you that exists, the one that procrastinates, the one that reacts emotionally, the one that seeks validation, the one that talks more than it executes, that version is already dead. It just doesn't know it yet. And the worst mistake people make? They try to prove they've changed. Real change doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't post. It doesn't explain. It shows up one day and shocks everyone. This is not about becoming louder. This is about becoming unrecognizable. Without a word. The old you had habits that looked harmless, scrolling just for 5 minutes, sleeping a little more, explaining yourself so they understand, waiting for motivation to feel ready. But harmless habits repeated daily become silent killers. They don't destroy you instantly. They erode you slowly. The old you thought time was infinite. The new you understands one thing. Every day you don't change, you're choosing decay. So let's be clear. You don't need to fight the old you loudly. You don't need drama. You don't need emotional speeches. You starve it. No attention. No excuses. No reaction. Silence is how you execute it. Look closely at people who truly leveled up. They didn't say, "From tomorrow I'll wake up early." They didn't say, "I'm going to grind now." They didn't say, "Watch me become different." They disappeared. They stopped responding instantly. They stopped explaining decisions. They stopped reacting emotionally. They stopped sharing plans. They became boring to weak people. They became unreachable to distractions. That's not arrogance. That's control. The old you lived on impulses. The new you operates on decisions. The old you reacted. The new you observes. The old you needed validation. The new you uses results as language. Here's the brutal truth most people won't accept. If you still feel the need to announce your growth, you haven't grown yet. Growth is heavy. It pulls you inward, it makes you quiet. Because when your focus sharpens, noise becomes painful. The old you loved comfort. The new you understands comfort is a slow poison. Comfort whispers, "Relax, you deserve it." Discipline whispers, "Earn it." And discipline doesn't speak loudly. It shows up at 5 a.m. It trains when motivation is dead. It studies when boredom screams. It stays calm when emotions beg to explode. That's how the old you dies. Not by force, by replacement. You don't kill the old you by hating yourself. You kill it by becoming too disciplined to let it live. Every time you do the hard things silently, the old you loses oxygen. Every time you don't react, the old you weakens. The old you fades. And one day, it's gone. No funeral, no announcement, just absence. Understand this clearly. People who talk a lot about change are usually negotiating with their old self. People who go quiet have already made the decision. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is focus under pressure. When you stop explaining, you stop leaking energy, you stop inviting opinions, you stop justifying weakness, you become unreadable. And unreadable people are dangerous. The old you wanted to be liked. The new you wants to be respected, even if it comes with loneliness. Because respect lasts longer than approval. Approval is rented. Respect is earned. The moment you stop caring who understands you, your power multiplies. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone deserves updates on your journey. Some people only deserve to see the result and wonder what happened. Let me say something uncomfortable. Your old self survives because you keep feeding it attention. You revisit old memories. You replay old mistakes. You keep old habits just in case. Burn that bridge. Not emotionally, strategically. Change your environment. Change your routine. Change how you respond. The old you cannot survive in a system designed for discipline. This is where most people fail. They try to change feelings first. Wrong. Feelings follow actions. Identity follows repetition. Act like the disciplined version long enough. Your mind will catch up. The old you feels uncomfortable? Good. That means it's dying. Growth is not comfortable. It's controlled suffering. And controlled suffering builds monsters. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove them wrong. Your silence will do more damage than your words ever could. When you stop reacting, people get confused. When you stop explaining, people get insecure. When you stop chasing, people start watching. That's the power of internal dominance. That's the power of internal dominance. The new you is not emotional. The new you is strategic. It understands. Not every insult needs a response. Not every opportunity needs chasing. Not every emotion deserves action. Control is the highest form of strength. Anyone can explode. Few can stay calm under pressure. And calm people win. One day someone will ask, "What changed you?" And you won't have an answer. Because it wasn't one moment. It was 1,000 silent decisions. Late nights, early mornings, unseen discipline, uncelebrated effort. That's how legacies are built. So if you're waiting for the right time, this is it. Stop talking. Stop announcing. Stop explaining. Let your actions suffocate the old you. Let your consistency bury it. Let your silence finish the job. And when the world finally notices, you will already be 10 steps ahead. Cold, focused, unrecognizable. No words needed. You think killing the old you is dramatic. It's not. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's lonely, and that's why most people fail. They want a cinematic transformation. Music, motivation, applause. But real evolution happens when nobody is watching, and nobody cares. The old you craves stimulation. The new you craves control. And control is built in environments where motivation doesn't exist. Let's get something straight. Your old self isn't weak because it failed. It's weak because it avoided discomfort. It chose the easier option too many times. It delayed. It negotiated. It waited for tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Only repetition does. And repetition decides who you become. The silent ones always win in the end. Why? Because while others are busy expressing emotions, they're building tolerance. Tolerance to boredom, tolerance to pain, tolerance to isolation. That tolerance becomes an advantage. The old you needed intensity to act. The new you acts even when everything feels empty. No hype, no adrenaline, just execution. That's a dangerous mindset, because when chaos hits, you don't panic. You've already trained in silence. Here's a rule you must tattoo into your mind. If it can be destroyed by comfort, it deserves to be destroyed. The old you collapses when things get hard. The new you gets sharper. Pressure doesn't crush you anymore. It organizes you. Your thoughts slow down. Your reactions disappear. Your focus narrows. That's when you become lethal. Most people think discipline is about force. It's not. It's about identity replacement. You don't try to be disciplined. You become someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness. Once that switch flips, there is no going back. You will notice something strange during this process. People will start acting different around you. Some will get uncomfortable. Some will test you. Some will try to pull you back into your old habits. Not because they hate you, but because your silence reminds them of their stagnation. Your growth exposes their excuses, so they'll say, "You've changed. You're cold now. You think you're better?" Let them talk. Every word they say is confirmation that the old you is dying. You don't defend yourself. Defending is what the old you did. The new you understands something brutal. Explanations are for people who control your life. And nobody controls you anymore. This path will cost you comfort. It may cost you relationships. It will definitely cost you validation, but it gives you something far more valuable. Self-respect. The kind that doesn't shake when nobody claps. One day you'll look back and realize the old you didn't disappear overnight. It starved, ignored, outworked, outgrown, until it couldn't keep up anymore. That's how you kill it. Not with rage, not with emotion, with consistency so cold. It feels inhuman. And here's the final truth most people never hear. You don't rise by becoming louder. You rise by becoming unavailable to weakness, unavailable to distraction, unavailable to excuses, unavailable to your former limits. When weakness knocks, you don't answer. When comfort calls, you hang up. When fear speaks, you let silence respond. That silence, that's not emptiness. That's the sound of a new identity forming. And once it's complete, you won't need to say a word. Your presence will say everything.